Greetings friends, you're on the Ruslan Bailov channel, and today we'll take a close look at developments on the Ukrainian front as of October 23, 2025. New frontline footage has appeared in the public domain, and we'll start this review with the Kherson axis. Russian sources have released fresh materials showing combat in this sector. The video shows officers of the armed forces of the Russian Federation planning an operation to cross the Dnipro River, followed by footage of the crossing itself. You can see an amphibious landing, Russian units moving across rough terrain and taking up new positions. The final part of the clip shows strikes on Kherson's southern districts, the Ostriv and Korobel neighborhoods. Another part of the city also appears in frame, where attacks were likewise conducted. It's hard to say definitively why that particular area was shown, but the author claims that after a successful sabotage operation, Russian forces established control over Kostiantynivka Island, which lies between the Russian-held bank of the Dnipro and Kherson proper. This is a strategic point that allows fire control over a significant part of the waterway. Comparing the new footage with the map published the day before, it's clear the situation has indeed changed. A few days ago, there were only reports of advances. Now we have visual confirmation. In the final seconds of the video, you can also see another Kherson area, Novopavlivka. This may hint that Russian units managed to land there as well. Who exactly is present in that area remains unclear. It could be assault groups, naval infantry, or sabotage units. But the overall picture is obvious. The Russian army is gradually increasing its presence on Kherson's approaches and expanding the bridgehead. Judging by the pace, there will likely be much more footage from this direction in the coming weeks and months. Now let's move to the area of responsibility of the Dnieper and Vostok groupings, which continue offensive actions in Zaporizhzhia region. Additional videos and clarifications have appeared regarding operations near Novopavlivka and Malotokmachka. According to the updates, a small pocket along the T-04008 highway came under Russian control together with its fortified strongpoints. Although there is no geolocated confirmation yet, this development looks plausible. At the same time, reports are coming in of Ukrainian counterattacks from the Orikhiv area toward Malotokmachka. The video shows Ukrainian equipment sent for support being destroyed by FPV drone operators on the approach. Russian units in this sector are consolidating and holding their positions. Earlier, some analysts claimed that all of Malotokmachka had already been fully taken by Russian forces. However, there is still no official confirmation. Maps are not being updated until more data appears. Shifting to the eastern part of the Zaporizhzhia axis, here the Russian army is advancing on three sections at once. Units are leaving the Poltavka fortified area and moving toward Vuhledar. Ukrainian positions near the village of Novopavlivka, Novopavlivka are being hit regularly by aerial bombs, indicating preparation for further movement in this direction. Similar strikes are recorded on the village of Yehorivka, where Russia's 29th and 36th armies are operating. They are gradually pushing toward Danilivka. It is important to note that a few days ago, the bridge on the R85 road linking Pokrovsk and Vuhledar was destroyed. That line of communication is now completely paralyzed. As a result, the settlements of Tsyhilna and Yehorivka have ended up in an extremely vulnerable position. Some maps already show Russian units entering Yehorivka. Along the tree lines, the advance is heading toward Vishnev. Ukrainian reserves being brought into this sector are being hit precisely by multiple launch rocket systems, including Tornado-S. Videos show these systems striking Ukrainian positions south of Danilivka. Clearly, the Vostok grouping is maintaining active offensive operations without pauses, and everything suggests news from this area will only increase in the near future. Now to the Novopavlivka direction. Recall that Russia's Ministry of Defense previously announced the complete liberation of Ivanivka by the center grouping. Today, analysts clarified that Russian units are continuing to move north and northeast, seeking to outflank Novopavlivka and hit Ukrainian rear positions. This means fighting on the Novopavlivka sector will intensify in the near term. Finally, the key axis, Pokrovsk and the entire Pokrovsk agglomeration. This is where the largest number of reports, visual markers and map changes are coming from. Russian forces continue clearing central and southeastern districts of the city. The advance is steady, if gradual. Today, several independent analysts, both pro-Russian and pro-Ukrainian, reported that the Ukrainian command has begun a gradual withdrawal of troops from the Pokrovsk agglomeration. For now, this does not look like a mass retreat. Rather, it appears to be a controlled reduction of manpower on certain sections to avoid encirclement and preserve combat-ready units. The Ukrainian side is trying to keep a balance, without fully weakening the defense, but also avoiding unnecessary losses. Nevertheless, more and more signs point to a possible full-scale withdrawal from the entire agglomeration. Reports speak of heavy fighting in the southern part of Novopavlivka, where Russian troops are advancing and entrenching on the approaches to the city's southeast. Thus, in recent days, the situation on the southern and eastern axes has changed significantly. The Russian army continues to develop the initiative, gradually taking new positions, and the amount of confirmed data from different parts of the front is growing by the day. Approximately on October 20th, Russian forces launched a new offensive. During this operation, they first cleared the settlement of Promin of enemy forces and then consolidated control over the eastern part of southern Novopavlivka. At present, fierce fighting continues near the mine, located in the southern part of the city. Equally noteworthy footage has appeared from the northern side of Novopavlivka. These clips were published by the Ukrainian side. They show Ukrainian reconnaissance at work. Drones are flying over the northern part of the city, which essentially functions as a fortified citadel. The video's author claims the drones are searching for possible Russian sabotage reconnaissance groups that have infiltrated this sector. This suggests that Russian forces likely managed to break into the agglomeration not only from the southwest, via Pokrovsk, and not only from Novopavlivka's southern districts, but possibly from the north as well. If confirmed, it would indicate that the noose around the Ukrainian grouping is gradually tightening. The situation for the AFU is becoming critical, which may explain the gradual withdrawal of their units from various directions. Now let's move to the northern part of the Pokrovsk agglomeration, the area of Rudinsky and Krasny Lyman. The map changes today are quite noticeable, and we should review the basis for them. As of October 22nd, the map looked different, and now clear forward movement is visible. Ukrainian sources published a video showing FPV drone strikes on Russian assault groups operating in Rudinsky. The footage shows explosive munitions being dropped on a building, which is then shelled by artillery. That structure was precisely targeted, and judging by the accompanying commentary, Russian units managed to approach the T-0515 highway running along the city's western edge. Another video shows a pair of Russian assault troops advancing across open terrain from the direction of Krasny Lyman toward Rudinsky. On the map, you can clearly identify the garage area where the fighters were spotted. The footage then shows them freely entering buildings and fortifying inside. These scenes suggest that Krasny Lyman is already under Russian control, along with parts of Rudinsky. Neutral analytical sources confirm the advance of Russian units from the north and northeast. Reports also indicate that nearly all of the southern, western, eastern, and northern sectors of Rudinsky have come under Russian control. The Ukrainian side retains only a narrow strip along the road, likely to keep an evacuation route open should the situation deteriorate further. If their defense becomes untenable, Ukrainian troops will likely retreat along the T-0515 highway toward Belitska and Dobropilya. Taking into account all available footage and reports, it's reasonable to expect that Russia's Ministry of Defense will soon officially announce that Rudinsky has been completely taken under Russian control. After that, an operational window opens for strikes on Pokrovsk and Novopavlivka from the north, effectively creating a closed encirclement, a classic cauldron. All things considered, it appears that Ukrainian forces are either conducting a tactical regrouping or have already begun an organized withdrawal. Several analysts predict that within the next few days, the situation here may change dramatically, making it evident that the entire Pokrovsk agglomeration could be abandoned. Now let's move to the breakthrough point. Neutral cartographers have confirmed earlier reports published by Ukrainian sources suggesting that the armed forces of Ukraine managed to slightly improve their positions near Kucherev Yar. However, today pro-Russian analysts, on the contrary, updated their maps to show Russian advances in the same area. Thus, the situation on this section remains unclear. One thing is certain: both sides are releasing incomplete information. This is particularly true for the areas of Shakov, Kucherev Yar, and Zoloty Kolodiaz, where no verified geolocations have yet appeared. Moving on to Kostiantynivka. Reports have emerged today claiming that Russian forces managed to break through Ukrainian defenses on the city's southeastern outskirts, enter the residential zone, and establish footholds there. This information is being echoed by both pro-Russian and Western sources. Headlines are already openly referring to the beginning of the battle for Kostiantynivka. While there's still no visual confirmation, the offensive itself seems quite consistent with the overall pattern of events. Given that Pokrovsk and Minohrad are already on the verge of collapse, it's evident that Russian troops are capitalizing on the moment and broadening their offensive across adjacent sectors. Now let's turn to the Siversk direction. Ukrainian sources have released interesting footage showing Russian troops assaulting positions along the Verkhnyo-Kamyanska-Siversk road. The operation makes extensive use of motorcycles, allowing rapid movement to strongpoints. The videos show soldiers riding up, dismounting, and beginning to clear enemy positions. These events are taking place near Siversk, and the maps have already been adjusted to reflect them. Russian forces are gradually closing the distance to the heavily fortified perimeter around the city. Farther north, they have established full fire control over the roads leading from Lyman to Siversk. Numerous new videos have surfaced showing FPV drone operators striking Ukrainian equipment and positions moving through the area. This footage clearly demonstrates that Russian forces are now fully controlling the logistics and supply routes of the opposing side. Special attention is being given to destroying infrastructure. Along the Sloviansk-Lyman road, Russian units are systematically demolishing bridges and pontoon crossings. The videos show Ukrainian engineers attempting to repair damaged sections, but as soon as their machinery is detected, it is immediately targeted and destroyed. Fighting continues farther north as well. In the area of the settlement of Stavki, Ukrainian sources are releasing footage of FPV drone attacks against Russian armored vehicles taking part in the assault. Heavy combat has been ongoing there for several days. While exact outcomes remain uncertain, earlier reports indicated that Russian troops had entered Stavki. However, it remains unclear whether they have managed to secure positions inside the settlement. Finally, attention turns to the Kupiansk direction. The situation there is developing rapidly and has become increasingly serious. According to the latest reports, Russian forces have encircled a small Ukrainian contingent in the western and northwestern parts of Kupiansk. This encirclement was not yet visible on maps yesterday, but new information confirms it. The exact number of trapped Ukrainian troops remains unknown, likely ranging from a few dozen to several hundred, though probably not exceeding 1,000. In the near future, Russian units are expected to focus on clearing out this localized pocket. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces are reportedly attempting to resupply the encircled troops using drones, though the effectiveness of such efforts appears to be extremely limited. These are the latest developments on the front. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, leave your likes, and see you next time.